Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulullah amma ba'd. Welcome to the Islam 101 class. Thank you all for joining us on this week. And this week is a special week in Islam 101 class because today we're going to be discussing something that has dominated society. And so when these things happen, and when they're so dominant, it's almost like we're forced to speak about it from an Islamic perspective, from a human being perspective. What kind of effect does this event have on our lives? Since it's so dominant, since it's all in the news, since it's all people are talking about, we need to derive the reflections from this. So one of the things that we must pay attention to as Muslims, as human beings, is the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the front row to. You see, a front row seat is the coveted seat. Whether you're playing basketball, whether you're in theater, whether you're in any event you can imagine. Everybody is jockeying for the front row. And why? Why would people want the front row seat, Antoine?
So they can see everything better?
Because they can see everything better. Why would they want the front row seat? Because you're first. Because you can almost feel the action, right? You're right there in the middle of the action. You can almost feel it going on. So this news story is nothing different. What happened earlier this week was very shocking. Kobe Bryant, he was an NBA basketball player for 20 years. And he was in a helicopter crash where his helicopter slammed into the side of a mountain. He passed away. His daughter Gianna, a brother by the name of John Altobelli, Carrie Altobelli, their daughter Alyssa Altobelli, Christina Mauser, Sarah Chester, her daughter Peyton Chester, and pilot Era Zobian. All died when the helicopter they were riding in slammed into a hillside on Sunday morning. And this is very, very, very tragic event. A lot of people lost their lives. Kobe Bryant and his daughter. There was a little girl and a little boy who lost both their parents in this accident. So we see events like this, and we, if we're not screwed on, if our head is not screwed on in the right place, we will ask why. Why would an event like this happen? And the answer is very simple. God is in control. God is in control. He's in control of everything that takes place. And we may understand what's going on, and we may not. However, that does not take away from the fact that God is in absolute control. So the phenomenon that followed this shocking event is because of the celebrity culture that we live in. And celebrity culture is defined as a high volume perpetuation of celebrities' personal lives on a global scale. Who can tell me what perpetuation is? Jasmine, could you tell me what perpetuation is? What's your name?
Anna.
Anna, can you tell me what perpetuation is?
Like when you put your beliefs on other people?
Yeah, exactly. Like something that just keeps going and going and going and going is to be perpetuated. So when somebody is raised to this celebrity status, their lives are followed forever. Until they pass away. People will always give updates on the lives of these celebrities. Celebrity culture is characterized by a pervasive preoccupation with famous people and an extravagant value attached to the lives of public figures whose accomplishments may be limited, but whose visibility is extensive. So we have people who are elevated to a point where we are concerned with what they're doing, whether and it's not based upon their accomplishments, put it like that. Some people have accomplished a lot, and some people don't have to accomplish so much in order to reach this celebrity status, because we know that celebrities are made for a variety of different reasons. Some people are just celebrities just for the fact that their parents are celebrities. And that's it. You imagine being born a celebrity, you being born and you just make your Instagram account and they got 1 million followers, you know? This is all test from God, believe it or not. It's not necessarily a good thing, it's a test. And one of the things about celebrity culture that kind of clashes or it's unrealistic is the fact that inhuman characteristics are attributed to celebrities. Now, if you look at the picture that's displayed right here, just a regular picture, right? This picture went viral last week. Why? Because it shows Kim Kardashian wearing no makeup. And so people were making comments. Oh, she looks so regular. She has pores, she has bumps just like I do. You see this notion of that celebrities can't have human characteristics. There was a rapper who was in the news, I think it was last week, because he was driving an Uber. This was some big famous rapper at some point, and he just got a regular job just for any reason, and he was slammed in the media because of this. They can't go to the grocery store. They make front page news when they gain weight, get wrinkles, go bald. Every just the regular things that normal people go through, they make front page news for this. But the thing that is also attributed to celebrities is the endless youth or the endless life that they're attributed. And that clashes with regular life because we know that nobody is given endless life. So there was a philosopher from the 1670s, and he had this notion. He says man has a God-shaped hole that exists inside of him. Now, this is in 1670. He noticed that people were, like obsessed with different things. And he wondered exactly why. And so he came up with this philosophy that the things that people are searching for, whether they are into materialism, whether they are into, collecting things, whether they're into hobbies, it no matter what these things are, these things will never fill the hole inside of man because that hole can only be filled by God. And this is a theory that came out in the 1670s, and it is prevalent to this day because you see people, they put celebrities or figures in their lives, or they put extreme materialism in their lives because man has a God-shaped hole inside him, and that's covered in Islam. How we know that nothing is supersedes a relationship with the law. This celebrity culture is destructive for this very reason. It destroys people because it invariably disappoints. At some point, it just disappoints. People can't do what God does. People are not perfect. They aren't continually faithful. They don't endure forever. They get sick. This is why we live in a culture that when the heroes fall, people are devastated. When the heroes that they built up, when those heroes fall either through death or they just can't do what they used to do, people are devastated. And we saw when Michael Jackson, when he passed away some years back, people actually committed suicide. When Michael Jackson passed away, this is a human being. He would eventually pass away anyway. People committed, they couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. In Islam, we are taught differently. One of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know that he has 99 names. One of the names of Allah is El-Qudus. He is known as the pure one who is far above and free of all shortcomings. This is an attribute of God. Now, if we want to put our faith in something that will never let us down, we put it in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we derive examples from the things that we see, and we put it into the proper perspective. That's all that we're doing. Let's talk about a real celebrity. That would be Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad, of course, we know he was the last ensuing prophet. And when he passed away, it was a lot of sadness, it was a lot of hysteria, and it was a lot of anger because people couldn't deal with the fact that this is one of the greatest people that has ever existed. And of course, people were sad. Umar radiallahu anhu, he took out his sword when he heard the news that the prophet passed away, and he said, nobody said it again. If anybody says that again, I'm gonna cut their hand off. And so Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, he was one of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he had to tell people, he says, no doubt, whoever worshipped Muhammad, then they must know that Muhammad is dead. But whoever worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah is alive and shall never die. Then he recited Allah's statement from the Quran, which it reads, this is a verse from the Quran, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Verily you will die and they will also die. So simple. Such a simple statement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just put it out there that what the prophets go through is what everybody will go through. And speaking about the prophet, why was he a celebrity? He was a celebrity based upon these principles. He had a reputation of honesty. He was compassionate to all. He was obedient to Allah. He taught justice and equality. He was pleasant and friendly. He was a family man. He had a humble lifestyle. He was generous and charitable, patient and steadfast. This is, and I'm not talking about anybody, I'm not putting anybody down in per se. A lot of these qualities are in stark contradiction with the celebrity that we know nowadays. In terms of him being a family man, celebrities are encouraged not to have families. Portray yourself as being single. A reputation of someone who is humble, had a humble lifestyle. Celebrities nowadays are not encouraged to have a humble lifestyle. Have an extravagant lifestyle, so people who are seeing you can be jealous of you. Patient and steadfast, be patient. If you reach any type of success, make it look effortless. Make yourself look like an overnight sensation. Not anything that has took 20 or 30 years. And Alicia Keys, she had a beautiful comment on this, and she said, my overnight success took 20 years. And that's the case. Even a lot of people that you see, they've been at it, even the basketball players. They've been playing since my son's age, 8 years old, and then they finally got to the point where they are successful. It also says in the Quran, Allah says, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is no more than a messenger, and indeed many messengers have passed away before him. If he dies or is killed, will you then turn back your heels as disbelievers? You see, a lot of people in this society, they think that death is a punishment. They think that, God hated this person and he took him off this earth and he killed him. That's not the truth. Because we will all die. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in this verse of the Quran that the best of all prophets, which is Muhammad, he lost his life. And the messengers before them lost their lives, and we will lose our lives. However, what are we doing with our time? In this surah right here, and I was going to put it in English, but I wanted people to see the elegance of this and how beautiful and eloquent it looks. This is a page out of the Quran, and I'll read the English translation of it. It's called Al-Asr, and it's by time is the first verse. Surely man is in loss, except those who believe and do good deeds, and enjoy each other in truth, and enjoy each other in patience. Now, the title of this verse is by time, because time is the life of the human being. A lot of people would say man is built of flesh and bones and blood and organs. That's true. But in all actuality, man is composed of time. That is what man is composed of. And Allah says in the second verse, surely man is in loss. Allah is telling us man is in loss. What does this mean? It means that man is like a person who possesses great capital. And without his permission and his will, every single day, a portion of that capital is taken away. Every day, a portion, if you imagine, and we do, actually go through this. When we get paid, every single day, what happens? Our money decreases. We have to get gas, we have to pay rent. Our kids all of a sudden need these new brand new shoes and a backpack. It's like, didn't I buy you a backpack last year? Now you can do backpack right now. This is the nature of the life of this world, the nature of continuous loss. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us through this verse that man will always be in loss. The struggle of the human being, and one of the scholars had a beautiful analogy of this while he was sitting outside. He looked at a man who was selling ice. A man who was selling ice. And so, as the day went on, what happened to his ice? It started to melt. And inevitably started to melt. And so, as the day went on, when the day got to the point where the sun was at its highest, it started to melt more. So the man had to sell his ice even faster for it not to run out. And this lifespan and this time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us is like that ice. We have to use it before it runs out. And so the last verse of this beautiful ayah, it's only this beautiful surah, it's only 3 ayahs. It says that this loss will occur except for those who believe and do good deeds and enjoying each other in truth and enjoying each other in patience. So this never-ending loss of life, loss of time, loss of everything will occur except if you are using your time to enjoy each other in truth, telling each other to be patient, uplifting other people, doing the right things in life. If we're not using this time wisely, at the end of our life, our time will be wasted. And we know that when we stand in front of Allah, one of the things that He will ask us is what about our time? What will He ask us? Jasmine, how do we use our time? That's a question that we have to answer from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one of the things that is evident is that some people are given more, in Islam we call it rizq, more money than other people. And this is something that plagues a lot of people because a lot of people, more people than not, don't have any money. I mean, not like us here in America where, our money is short, but we're still riding around, we're still eating, we're still doing these things. Not like that. Talking about to the point where they don't even have water to drink. Dirt poor. But you have some people like we discussed before, they're born filthy rich. So how is this measured out? Well, the thing is this perceived imbalance, it psychologically does something to the mind of the human being. So automatically we start thinking to ourselves, I don't have any money. However, if I had the money, my life would be so much better. My life is not good because I don't have any money. But if I had the money, my life would be so much better. So what does a human being do? Every single day he wishes that he had money. And he would even go as to break the law to get the money. He would neglect his family to get the money. He would neglect his children to get the money because he thinks that these things will satisfy him. For some reason, I grew up and I was an orphan. So what does the man think his whole life? Man, if I would have just had my parents, my life would be good. If I would have just had one of my parents, I only had one, but what if I had the other one? My life would be perfect. This mentality right here is taken away from the almighty presence of God. if it was meant for you, if these things were meant to benefit you, however strange they may seem, you would have them. It's nothing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give people money. All right? It's nothing. Some people think that people who have money, they work hard to get it. They don't. Some people do, some people don't. I know a lot of people who have zero money who work 50 or 60 hours a week, and they don't have anything to show for it. So it says in the Quran, it says that whoever works righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a true believer, verily on him we will give a good life, and we shall pay them certainly a reward in proportion to the best of what they used to do. Beautiful, beautiful verse from Allah. So he's telling us that just because of the fact that we are believers, we will have good lives. Not the good lives defined by our own limited vision of what we see, because we might think, okay, a good life involves a Rolls Royce or a Lamborghini or something. No, this is a life defined by Allah. Because some people live and die and they will never have a Lamborghini. They will never have any nice car or any nice clothes. Some people, like our ancestors way back in the day, they lived and they died slaves. What about those people? They didn't have big lives. If this verse is telling us, if we are believers and we work and we are faithful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then our reward with Him will reflect that. Paradise. Never ending, don't have to worry about anything, don't have to worry about anything. So these are the things that we need to work towards, being good believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the other thing is that we know that money is a test. Money is a test. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and know that your properties and your children are but a trial, and that Allah has with him a great reward. So this is the other thing that man thinks that God gives him money because he's happy with him. He's happy, that like I don't have any money because God is angry with me or upset with me. And that. These things are not true either. It also says in the Quran, and as for man, when his Lord tries him and is generous to him and favors him, he says, my Lord has honored me. These are verses of the Quran. But when he tries and restricts him, his provision, he says, my Lord has humiliated me. And that's one thing that we see in society as things go in, how, and this is just the perception of how man takes it. How if somebody doesn't have too much money, they feel ashamed of themselves. They feel like you would, want to go visit one of your friends or something, and they tell you, no, I don't want you to come in because my apartment is just so small. I don't really have a let's ride with you because I just have a little small car. Almost that their lack of funds is an embarrassment of some kind. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that these things are not true. That the lack of having money is not an embarrassment of God, because people work and they work for themselves to have money. And you will ask them, why are you working so hard? Why are you building these things up? Why are you not spending time with your family? And they say, I'm trying to provide for my family, even when I'm not gone. But we look at the case of Whitney Houston. She incurred so much wealth, and she left it all to her daughter when she passed away. And what happened not too far after that? The daughter who she left the money to passed away. So where's the money now? It goes to somebody who was not even in the original scheme. All this working and neglecting I've done for my family so my sons can have a good life, and I pass away, and it doesn't even go to my sons. So we cannot have this notion that we can see the future, because we can't. The truth of the matter is, if we dissect this, 41 years, and this is the age of Kobe when he passed away, is 14,965 days. 7,300 of those days were him playing professional basketball. So that's almost half of his life. So one of the quotes that was interesting that he quoted was, "I've sacrificed so much time playing basketball away from my family. Now it's time to spend with my family." And he says this when he retired. He spent 20 years of his life traveling, playing basketball, doing things of that nature, being away from his family, just planning on one day he would retire. And he retired extremely young. He retired extremely young. He wasn't even 40 years old. He retired extremely young. So from his own calculations, I don't know if he was calculating this, but just a normal person, I sacrificed 20 years of my family. However, I'm a retired when I'm 38, so I will have technically from a worldly point of view, you would say about 40 years to spend with your family. You know, and then you can spend and you can sacrifice. However, it may not be God's plan. So after you are done playing basketball, I think he retired 4 years ago, and that's it. Just 4 years. So if you knew that going in, would you spend all of your time? No. What are we spending all our time on? Are we sacrificing? Are we doing things for the sake of God, or what are we putting off to later? What are things that we're supposed to do right now, but we're equating to this imaginary time that's going to come, that we'll have all the time to spend? That time may not come. And the sad part about it is the younger people that pass away. We're talking about 40 years. That's a wealth of time compared to, there were 13-year-olds that passed away, and that was it. So this is a message to the youth that are here. Don't wait to practice religion when you're old. Don't think to yourself, when I get old, that's when I will practice my religion. All right? Because that time may not come. So Allah says in the Quran, and this is one of my favorite verses. "O mankind, indeed you are laboring towards your Lord with great exertion, and you will meet him." So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us through this verse that whatever we're doing, it doesn't matter if we're mowing the lawn out there, it doesn't matter what we're spending our time with, religious or not religious, we are laboring towards God. Because we're spending the time that God gave us in order to do these things. And it says that eventually you will meet him. So at the end of your life of practicing religion, not practicing religion, at the end of your life of crime, you will meet God. And you will have to answer for the things that you do. And the people who are extremely forceful in this world doing things, these are the people that make the best Muslims. Because they will use that same force and they will use it towards the deen, like Umar radiallahu anhu. He was an extremely forceful individual before Islam. And people were scared of him because he had such a strong mentality. However, he was a Khalifa. He was known as one of the greatest Muslims that ever existed, just because of what he did for the deen. So look at some of the accomplishments of Kobe Bryant. He was a 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Final MVP, NBA Most Valuable Player, NBA scoring, 2-time scoring champ, 4-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, 14-time All-NBA team, 12-time All-Defensive Team, NBA Slam Dunk Contest champ, and 16 times Player of the Month. Just to name a few of the stats, and there were some stats actually that are missing off of it. Now, we need to take a minute and analyze our own stats. How many days are we spending at work? Our timeline maybe how many hours we spent on YouTube, how many hours me working for Amazon, how many packages I delivered, maybe over 10,000. These are all of the things that we're laboring towards. Antoine, how many Legos have you played with? It would be a lot, right? Thousands of hours spent doing these things. And these are all equating for our own stats of our own life. No, we're not in leagues, we're not in places where people are literally documenting all of our stats. But we have stats also. And we need to take note of those things, then we need to have righteousness. A couple of acts that we can do that will build up our stats and that will make us higher when we meet God. The first act are the 2 rakats before Fajr. And so these are just two rakats of sunnah prayer before we pray our first prayer, which is Fajr Salat. The second act would be, and Aisha radiallahu anha, she said that the 2 sunnah cycles of the morning prayer are better than the world and what it contains. You see, the acts of this world take a lot of effort, but they're very simple to comprehend. So we're talking about if somebody says, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to have to go to college, and then you're going to have to go to graduate school. You may be in school for about 10 years. However, the acts that God loves are very, very simple to do, but they're hard to comprehend. So we're talking about doing 2 rakats of sunnah prayers before your Fajr Salah, and you get a reward of everything that the world and everything that it contains is the reward that you get from that. That's a little much to envision, right? To the point where some people still they don't even do it. Another act that occurs a lot of blessing will be act number 2, which is leading one person to Islam. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, to spend one morning or evening in the cause of Allah is better than the world and whatever it contains. You see how big this blessing is? If you leave the house and say, you know what, I'm going to spend my day or spend my time trying to lead people to God and lead people to something righteous, Allah will give you the reward of this world and everything it contains. In one, it was a story. It wasn't a hadith, but it was a story. It was a very popular story, a very, very, very inspiring story. It was a man who lived in a town, and he was very, very righteous. However, the town itself was corrupt. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had plans to destroy this town. And so when the angels asked him, where should we start destroying the town? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, start on that righteous man. That's where you start when you destroy the town. Start with him. So the angel said, why? He's righteous. He prays to you all the time. He's very righteous in this town. He's the most righteous person in the town. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, start with him because he's so righteous, but he didn't try to tell anybody around him. He just kept it within himself. So we know from that and from other examples how effective it is to tell other people about righteousness, tell other people about the religion of Islam, perpetuate what you're doing to other people. The next act is restraining of the tongue. And this is an act that is very, very easy to get into. Because they call it waswas or just humaza lumaza or just backbiting in general. Just like candy is very sweet, gossip and backbiting and talking about other people is the sweetness of it. Just when somebody comes to you and they say, "Oh, I got something to tell you," it's just like, man, you know, it's something that we need to stay away from. Just like candy, and we know candy is sweet, but we have to stay away from it. The gossip and the talking bad from people is a habit that a lot of people we need to stay away from. Even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that it's 2 things. If you can control them, you will get paradise. And that's the thing one of the things was your tongue, and the other things was your sexual organs. These are 2 things that will get you in a lot of trouble. The third thing is, the verse off the Quran is, whoever believes in God in the last day should speak a good word or remain silent. Very, very simple. The last thing, and this is very, very beautiful thing, because this is what all the prophets did. Is to pray in the middle of the night. Pray in the middle of the night. And it's encouraged to do this after you've slept. So you pray the last prayer, which is Isha, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up, and you pray at least 2 rakats. Now, it says in the Quran, no, this is actually a hadith. It says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, "O people, spread salam," which is the greeting of peace to each other. Give food, maintain kin relationships, pray at night while people are asleep, and with this, you shall enter heaven in peace. Very, very simple things. But one of those things is the act of prayer in the middle of the night. So I put these acts on there right before I put the stats of the career of the basketball player, because we need to build our own stats. We want to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with major stats. We spent this many hours standing in the middle of the night. We spent this much time giving to the homeless people. We restrained our tongue. We prayed. We want to stand in front of God with a lot of good deeds. And so these are some very, very simple things that we can do to build up our good deeds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the things that was so prevalent about this week and what went on is the power of Allah. Allah has dominion. Allah says in the Quran, in the Surah Mulk, "Blessed, bountiful is he in whose hands is dominion, and he is able to do all things." Very, very simple ayah. Blessed is he in whose hands is dominion, and he is able to do all things. Very, very simple, but so profound. Because we have things in this life that we own, but we're not able to do everything with them. We own our car, but if you park it in the wrong place, what happens? The city will take it. They send you something in the mail to tell you to register this car, put insurance on this car, or they catch it, they'll take it away from you. You have a house, you want to paint it a certain color, no, because the home association says no. You have a house and the to deliver the mail, you get a ticket. If not, you'll get evicted from this house. These are houses that you own. We live in these apartments, in these condos, and we pay the rent, but we commit an infraction, and they can kick us out of the street. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He created all of these things. The human beings, everything that you can imagine, the trees, the stars, everything. But He has complete control of these things. And that is on showcase because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the life of one person, and millions of people die every day. Billions of people die every year. And affected the whole world. Took the life of one person and affected the whole world, just like that picture. So everybody got a tweet, a text message, something like that, within hours of this tragedy that this happened. So we can't take things like this and say, "Oh, that's nothing. Oh, that's just some basketball player." No, we have to look at this and say, why did we have a front row seat to this? It's showing people that death is real. During this time, nobody had more famous celebrity friends. From the presidents of the United States to any celebrity that you can imagine, nobody could do anything to stop this tragedy from happening. Nobody can pay no amount of money to stop this from happening. Allah is showing that He is in control. And it says in the very next surah, in the next ayah, that the Lord who created death and life so that He may test you, which of you is better indeed, and He is omnipotent, the all-forgiving. So right after the verse where Allah was saying that He was in control, He was saying, I am the Lord who created death and life so that I may test you, which is better indeed. So even death is a test. It's just a test. Because it was a creation from Allah. And He created to see which of us is best in need. And the scholars say that in this particular verse, Allah says He created death before life. Death was first. It was first. So how old are you?
55.
Man, you look like you look no older than like you in your 30s, man. You look super young. I would never have guessed it.
Thank you. I don't know what 55 is for. You know,
Man, you look good.
uh,
Where were you 56 years ago?
somewhere in the universe.
You were with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Somewhere in the universe.
And that's what Allah is saying, that He created death before the life.
But I can believe that because at times, some of us, I know myself, feel like I've been here before. It doesn't, like when I was going through, I told you about the transition with this cancer.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like that,
Mm.
you know, so I had no doubt that death wasn't for me right now.
Mm.
I knew He had something bigger because I didn't feel I was sick to the medicine.
Wow. Wow.
You know, I felt a little pain,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel ill
Yeah.
until I was receiving medicine
Mm.
to let me know that I was to help me recover. It's crazy, but Allah works the way He works.
Amen.
And over the years, I learned. I said, I don't question, man. I accept because
Yeah.
you really have no choice but to.
You have no choice but to accept. But that's what things of this nature it shows us is that we have no control. We just have to deal with these things that come. And that's the beauty of life is to take these things that occur to us, figure out exactly why they occur, and we have all kinds of things that occur in terms of, I always reflect on the passing of my mother, things of that nature that we can do nothing about. However, I knew for a fact that this didn't happen to me because Allah was upset or angry with me. I knew that this was just a part of life, and that goes with all of these other things. There's 53 million people on this earth. And I would ascertain that maybe a good 7 billion people knew about what happened to Kobe Bryant.
Right.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people
influence that you have put on this earth.
Exactly, but for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if you just look at just social media or whatever, and just what people are talking about. People are talking about this. People are talking about, oh, life is short. We don't know what to do. I need to start doing stuff with my life. I need to do this. This woke a lot of people up.
Yeah.
It woke a lot of people up.
I was going to say, but when we had a conversation earlier about being conscious, you know this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know because from a child to an adult, within that span of life, you have witnessed people passing away, people birth and death, from their age to mine. So once we conscious about this, we know that life is as long as we think it.
Exactly.
We can't measure Allah's time with our time. It's two different
things. We create time.
Right. So, like we said before, with the precious time that you got,
what are you going to do with it? You know what I'm saying? And that goes into, and this is the final slide. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and it is He who brought you forth from the wombs of your mothers when you knew nothing. He gave you hearing, sight, intelligence, and affection. Why? Why did He give us all these things? So that you may give thanks. So that you may give thanks. So we look at our lives and we look at the extension of our lives, and that's one of the things that we need to pay attention to. Look at the extension of your life. Why? Why was your life extended? It was extended so you can give thanks to Allah.
That's a question that I ask a lot because I told you my situation was beyond the cancer. I've been away for 26 years. So I had during that time away was a lot of self-reflection, you know, and seeing things in front of you that you know that's not healthy for any person, and to stay away from that during this time, you know what I'm saying? People like, how could you, it wasn't hard, because especially reading Quran, and I needed a roadmap to get through this that I was going through.
Exactly.
Quran was the best roadmap that I can get, and it helped me to stay sane, because I had used to watch this program, which I shouldn't, it's called Walking Dead, but I looked at it beyond the screen part of it, and I looked at it from another angle that I see Walking Dead around me right now.
Oh, wow.
So, I do not want to be affected like this.
Yeah.
So what do I do? So with that time that he allowed me to be away, I studied. I got my body together. I got my health together. You know what I'm saying? I didn't work on family as much as I should have, you know, but it was due to the circumstances. I feel he had me the way he wanted me to get me together and get myself together. Then so when I came home, I could be able to help my family. And I didn't know that my family was in the strength that they was in. When I was locked up, everybody was saying everything's good, everybody's okay. When I came home, it wasn't like that. And I had to really, I don't know how to, I had to really focus in on my faith, because
Just things in perspective.
I wasn't used to seeing them living in a certain way. I wasn't used to seeing them like that. And when I seen it, it crushed me. So my immediate thing was, how can I help?
Exactly.
How can I help? I was even at the point where helping was hurting me. You know,
And that's
but exactly. And so I had to fall back and restructure and figure out another way that I can help. You can help without giving them cash. I said, just start giving hot.
You got to. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take away your cash. So you can only give other things. You know what I'm saying?
But I had to ask my people also, I was like, I've been away for this long. What were you doing with your time while I was gone? Why your situation like this? Once again, not following the directions that he was giving us. And live outside his guidance.
You fall, and that's inevitably. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this is the last slide. I'm gonna conclude this lecture on this. Is that just the structure of how the society is set. This is no new thing. The culture, the society that we live in. This week is Kobe. Next week it'll be something else, and next week it'll be something else. We live in a never-ending machine of the things that are in front of us. So we, as conscious people, as believers, as Muslims, we need to know how to adequately look at these things and not get caught up in these things and not get the lessons of these things and use these things in order to make our lives better, using the front page story of a paper to make our lives better. How? Look at this situation, this terrible tragedy, and say, you know what? I need to really use my time more effectively, because my time is not guaranteed. Use this as a time to solidify our relationships with the law. Use these events and the life force that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us and our kids, and be genuinely thankful to Him that He has extended our lives and just given us another day to be thankful, to solidify a relationship with Him, and to be able to have a mind to be able to reflect on these events. So with that, you know, we ask that, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, you know, He just has mercy on the families of these tragedies that happen. And we just pray that, you know, He protect our families from a tragedy like this. And we pray that Allah keeps us unified, keeps us sane in a place where we can worship Him And we thank him. Akuda Koli Hadar, respect the Lord, you want to say, you want to me, second group, and in the who Rahim. So the next classes, it will be in 2 weeks, inshallah. Oh, I want to take some time to open up. Open up the floor for questions. If anybody had any questions, if anybody had any questions about the presentation that I can answer.
No, it was
Good?
live.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, alhamdulillah. So yeah, like I said, a week after next will be our next class, and I'll give updates in terms of the topic and everything. But I appreciate everybody for coming.
No, I mean, every time you send me a text, I'm here. I'm here to support any way I can.
Appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
I'm gonna need your help. I'm getting ready to
Put your contract together for a podcast. You know,
my demographic is brothers and sisters who've been inside.